of Zoning Board of Appeals for December 15th, 2022, 7:00 p.m. and we'll begin. I'd ask for a call to order and a roll call of people.
Hoff.
Here.
Culbertson.
Here.
Walsh. Here. Shields.
Here.
Amy's absent.
Yes, and just for the record, Ms. Ramey indicated to me late this afternoon that she was feeling ill and would be unable to attend. I did make contact with both Ms. Knoll and Mr. Kangas. Unfortunately, neither of them could attend in person. So we'll proceed at this time. Next item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Does anybody have any additions or suggestions or objections?
So move the agenda as posted.
I'll support.
Moved by Ms. Culbertson to adopt the agenda as posted, supported by Mr. Walsh. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion passes. Next item of the agenda is the swearing in. Could I ask the folks in the back and whoever may be at home who will be speaking at all on any of the matters here today? I'd like to swear you in, so would you please stand and raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that your testimony in these proceedings will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay. All done.
Should we check and see if there's anyone online who intends to speak?
Is there anybody on the line who intends?
Mr. Beres is here.
Okay.
Hello.
Next item, hello. Somebody said hello.
Mr. Beresdi.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Next item on the agenda is communications or correspondence. I don't have any communication. I have a little correspondence which I've shared with the zoning board members with regards to the page about required variance information, but we can deal with that a little bit later. I have nothing else in communications or correspondence. Does anybody else?
Should we have included the correspondence I had with Andrew Beres and his note to us?
We have the note on record, and I believe yes, his letter of December 1st is part of the packet information. So if there's anything further necessary, we can deal with that when we get to that on the agenda. I have nothing else. Does anybody else have anything as far as correspondence or communication? Nothing? All right, good. Well, the next item on the agenda is the public hearing. So I'm going to open the public hearing at this time for variance number 22006, Walter, James and Shauna for 1096 Coventry Square Drive, H-08-14-440-136 to allow a covered deck with a 40-foot rear yard setback rather than required 50-foot rear yard setback pursuant to section 36-75. Are you James and Shauna? Yes. Why don't you come on up here to the table and make yourselves comfortable. But really, before we get involved in this too much, you'll note that we have 4 of the commissioners here.
Yes.
We normally would have 5, but because of the illness of one of the members and the inability of the other alternates to appear, we're here with 4 people. That's certainly a quorum, and we're empowered to proceed. However, it's as a courtesy to the applicants, what we've done in the past, and I'll do it today for your benefit. If you wish to have this matter heard by the full 5-member board, we can postpone it to January with the expectation that we'll get a full number of people here. It's up, I'll give you that choice. Would you like to proceed, or would you like to put it off for a month?
Mr. Chair, can I just add something?
Yes,
That 3 votes are needed to pass your variance. So 3 of the 4
Yeah.
members would have to vote.
Okay.
instead of 3 out of 4, it would have to be 3 out of 5 if we had the full, that's why I'm giving you the option. You understand? what I'm doing?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll let you do what you like.
When's the January?
Yes.
When is it? January 19th.
Okay.
Take a moment to discuss it between the 2 of you. We're not in a great big rush at the moment.
I mean, I guess, the question is like, if it ended up being split 2 and 2, then what's it gonna, does that mean that we just have to come back in January and just present it again, or what, I mean, what would it?
If it's 2 and 2, then whatever motion it is that's been made, or 2 motions, I guess, that both of them would fail. So a motion to approve would fail, and then your request would fail.
That's probably our best option, would be to come back in January, just to,
Like, come back in January?
yeah.
Okay, well, that's fine, Mr. Walter, we'll do that. And I'll recommend that, excuse me.
So does it have to be reposted again? And
No, if a matter is postponed, which is what we'll be doing here today, it won't have to be reposted. Let me just note or ask, and just so you know, Ms. Krebs is our consultant from Carlisle Wardman. And she's also operating the Zoom connection. Do we have anybody on Zoom besides Mr. Barris and,
Yes.
and who else do we have?
Well, you can ask if they want to speak.
Yes, that's what.
Okay, so I guess at this time, if there's anybody that would like to speak on this variance for 1096 is it Coventry Square or Country Square?
Coventry.
Coventry Square, you could raise your hand at this time. No one's
Nothing?
Nope.
Okay, well, then there won't be any problem with the people who are here via Zoom. So we can put this over to the 19th at 7 o'clock.
Do we need a motion to do so?
Yes.
Yeah, well, we should do that, but I was just trying to think whether there's any other housekeeping. I guess there's not.
Then I would move that we table variance 2200.
Yeah,
or
correct, you to
postpone it. Postpone variance 22006 until our January meeting.
Okay. Well, we have a motion by Ms. Culberson to postpone the variance number 22006 to the January 19th regular meeting of the ZBA, supported by Mr. Shields. Mr. Wallace, would you call the roll?
Hoth,
Yes.
Culbertson,
Yes.
Walsh, yes, Shields.
Yes.
Okay, well, the motion to postpone it to January 19th has been accepted, so we'll put it over to that time.
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Enjoy your holidays.
Thank you. You as well.
The next item on the agenda is old business. And it's a request for reinstatement of variance number 22005 by Andrew and Natalie Beres. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
That works, Perez. That works. That's
I'm
good.
not asking whether it works. I'm just asking whether it's correct.
Well, you can call it Perez.
Well,
That
listen, I
works.
mean, I've lived my entire life with an unpronounceable last name. So,
I thought you did a good job. I was impressed.
okay. Request for reinstatement variance number 22005 by Andrew and Natalie Beres and Dan Miller for 4700 Stone Hill Lane. For the record, what has occurred is that at the time of the ZBA meeting of November 17th, there was no one in person or by Zoom to proceed with the variance. So pursuant to the rules of procedure of the ZBA, upon motion and voting, the matter was dismissed for no prosecution. Now, oh, Bob, by the way, your
I saw it in there.
email is, yeah, I just noticed that your email to Mr. Beres and Mr. Miller is part of the record. And so taking that into account and to finish up the preliminaries on this, under Rule of Procedure 5.4, last November 17th, motion was made in pursuant to that rule that when an applicant fails to appear at a properly scheduled meeting of the ZBA, the chairperson may entertain a motion to dismiss the case for want of prosecution. The applicant then would be furnished written notice of the action by the secretary, and the applicant then would have 7 days to apply for reinstatement of the case. In such case, the applicant must file a written request with the secretary for reinstatement, which will be at the discretion of the chairperson for good cause shown upon a payment of a fee established by the township board. Roll call vote was done and unanimously the motion was made to dismiss the action. Since that time, Mr. Beres has requested reinstatement in a timely fashion, and Mr. Walsh's communication with the applicant and Mr. Beres's reply and explanation are part of the record. At this time, we should discuss the reinstatement. The ruling, according to our rules, is one to be made by me. But I'd like to hear everybody's opinion on that. And Mr. Beres may want to supplement what he has already said in his response. But for the record, generally, Mr. Beres was indicating that he was unaware that someone actually had to appear for the hearing. And that's generally his explanation. And I circulated to everybody a copy of the page of quote, required variance information, unquote, which is given to all of the applicants by Scio Township staff. I requested this from Frances Zuma, and she sent me over, among other things, this page. And I'll note that at the bottom of the page, it says, you as the owner / petitioner will be expected to attend the initial meeting when your case comes before the zoning board of appeals for a hearing. If you are unable to attend for any reason, please submit a letter of authority if the appeal is made by a person other than the owner / petitioner of the property. Such representative may be a member of your family, a friend whom you have selected, or an attorney or other professional. Failure to have a representative on hand to present your case will likely result in the zoning board of appeals tabling your case to the next scheduled meeting of the board, which usually is a month later, but could be longer if there is not other business requiring the board to meet. This may also result in an additional public hearing, and the owner / petitioner is responsible for the additional notification fee. And it has the fee of resubmittal fee of $250 for residential, and another fee for commercial. And Mr. Barris, first of all, is there anything you would like to say in addition to what your written reply has been so far?
I think Dan, I saw him in the camera, by the way. I think he's there with you guys.
Yes.
Dan and I actually spent a lot of time before your meeting in November talking about our submission, and we were happy with the submission. We talked about each line item, and we kind of went through together, and we felt really good about what we were submitting. So we got the packet. I think I got it from an email from somebody. So we were very going into that. We were very confident that we had done everything, but clearly we didn't know the process. So afterwards, Dan and I connected, and we realized we didn't do it correctly. To be honest with you, I've never done anything like this before, so I just didn't know. But now I know, and I learned a lot. So that's really it. Just asking for you guys to hear my case when you'd like to. If you guys want to charge me a fee again, that's okay. Not ideal for me, but that's okay. And I'll accept that either way. But this is just, we didn't really know, and now we do. But I'm glad, and I appreciate you guys have a Zoom option because I just put our 2-year-old with my wife upstairs so they can hang out until I'm done. So in any case, Dan and I are here to talk with you about anything you would like.
Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'd like to hear from the board members on this, so let's go around the horn. Mr. Walsh, what are your thoughts about the reinstatement? And we're just talking about the reinstatement, not any of the factual basis of the request for the variance, nothing like that. We're just talking about reinstatement.
Absolutely.
I'm all for reinstating. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't.
Okay. Ms. Culberson?
Yeah, I don't have any issues with reinstatement. I do think that there are, as far as fees, there are some fees that the township is responsible for with the reinstatement, so I wouldn't want to waive the fees.
All right. Mr. Shields?
I think the term that was saw somewhere is extenuating circumstances, and as a person that doesn't always read all the details, I can see myself doing this and have missed that clause or that paragraph. So I'm very sympathetic to your case. I think we should rehear it.
Reinstated.
Reinstated, I'm sorry.
Okay. Anything from anybody else? Ms. Krebs, do you have anything to add one way or the other? Well, it's given to me as the chairperson to make the decision, and I'm going to make the decision to reinstate the request. And the reason for that is that although it's very clear in the required variance information that's given to all applicants that they must appear or do something else, write a letter or authorize someone else to appear. And so I think that part of it is fairly obvious. And I respect Mr. Shields' observation that sometimes we don't all read all this stuff. To me, I think you have an obligation to read it. And because there is certain work that does go on and behind the scenes, and we got to do it again, sort of. And that's where the fees come in, Ms. Culverson, accept that. I'll get to the fees in a moment. But the reason why I'm going to reinstate this is because of the second paragraph under the please note. There's nothing in here that says that if you don't show up, your case is going to be dismissed. And that part of it concerns me. So a couple of things are going to happen. I think we will ask the township administration to change the information to reflect that failure to attend may result in a postponement with additional fees, or may be dismissed for failure to prosecute. So I think a rewording of that is in order. And I'm going to use that as the reason for the extenuating circumstances in this case. As a result of that, I'm not sure that because the applicant didn't attend but wasn't advised that it would result in a dismissal, that a fee ought to be assessed. I think in this case, we can't honestly say that the person who has had a case dismissed has to pay to reinstate it when the reason for it is a failure on the part of the information sheet to use to say that dismissal is a possibility. And I found nothing else in our rules of procedure that would require additional fees. So I'm going to recommend, but it's beyond, Mr. Barris, it's beyond our control.
Absolutely.
This is up to the township staff, and I'm gonna leave it up to them. I'm gonna recommend I recommend the township does not assess a fee.
Thank you.
But as I say, that's not our responsibility, nor is it within our power.
Question, Mr. Chair, do we have to renotice and redo the public hearing?
No, I discussed this briefly with Ms. Krebs before,
Actually, you do.
Oh, we have to renotice it, but.
For a reinstatement, yes, it would have to be republished and re-notified because we did not hold the hearing.
Okay.
Tonight, the difference with the first case is we held the
Yes.
hearing and it was postponed. And
Yes.
so we don't have to renotice that one for January, but this one we would.
So the answer is yes.
Okay.
However, again, I'm gonna recommend, and I do so on the record, that the township eat that money itself. And correct it going forward, and I guess that's all I can say about that. So, Mr. Barris, thank you. We'll see you. It's gonna be January 19th at 7 o'clock. So if this time, I think, I assume you can attend by Zoom. I know of no reason why an applicant need only attend by Zoom. There is a requirement under state statute, which got changed a couple of times, as it were, as a lot of other things were, that the ZBA members have to attend in person. But I
Okay.
can find nothing that says that the applicant has to, or is prohibited from doing it by Zoom. So, we'll see you next month.
Thank you so much. I will be attending by Zoom. I appreciate that option. It's very nice. You guys are coming in crystal clear and I can hear everything you're saying. So that's been very helpful. So we'll see you January 19th by Zoom.
I gotta
Thanks
give
so
you
much.
fair warning, Mr. Barris. The
Yes.
Zoom works most of the time.
Uh-oh. Oh no.
We've had, well, I'm giving you fair warning on it, really.
What's the ordinance if the Zoom doesn't work? Is that on me or is it on the Zoom?
Well, yeah, it's a problem. What happened a couple of months ago is that we could only get audio for reasons which were never made known to me.
Yeah.
Then we couldn't find the recording, but our transcriptionist who's contracted with the township to do the minutes was able to find it herself because it was posted on one of the neighborhood boards. So it worked out okay, but I'm giving you fair warning. If the Zoom doesn't work, we got a problem.
Understood. Technology is never perfect.
Hold on, Mr. Walsh has
We
something.
have one
correct.
option, if for some reason the Zoom doesn't work. Next time we can postpone and
Yeah.
just push it to another
Yes,
meeting instead of having to reinstate.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you.
That makes sense.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night.
Next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. First one is minutes of the November 17th, 2022 meeting. Any corrections suggested by anybody?
No, just for what was a short meeting, the person who pulled them together did another fabulous job.
Yeah, it was a terrific job. Again, thank you. Well done. So I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Support.
Motion to approve the minutes of November 17th, 2022, made by Mr. Walsh, supported by Ms. Culbertson. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposition? There is none. Next item on the agenda is the minutes of the training session of November 18th, 2022. Anybody have any corrections to any of that?
Just want to comment that it's very nice that the person transcribing put the appropriate times down.
Oh,
Where if you listen to it, if you're looking for a particular thing, you can get to it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Very handy.
That's very handy.
Very handy. And well done, of course, as well. Now attached to the minutes are actually
It's the presentation.
it's a PowerPoint, and I guess we can make that a part of the minutes. Anybody say about that? All right, so we'll make the PowerPoint presentation, which is 17. No, I take that back. 15 pages long. Be made part of the training session minutes.
I think it's 16, 17, yeah.
The first two pages aren't here. But my recollection is they were just covered.
Introductory.
Yeah. So, can I have a motion on that matter?
Support.
Moved by Mr. Shields, supported by Ms. Culbertson to approve the minutes of the training session of November 18th, 2022. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion passes. Okay, next item on the agenda is
Public comment.
public comment. Citizens wishing to address the zoning board of appeals on matters which are not on the public hearing portion of the agenda or seek information on any other matters. Such oral presentations shall be limited to 3 minutes, except a representative or spokesperson of an organization shall have 5 minutes to address the board. Are there any persons wishing to make public comment?
Yes, Ms. Pam Boyd.
Ms. Boyd, go ahead.
Thank you. Pam Boyd, a Scio resident. Again, I have learned something new. Chair Oth, I think your comments regarding this second issue were very well said. I learned a whole lot in your public comments there, and I think that it was very nice to see all of you, take a step back and give this applicant a second chance. But anyway, Happy New Year to everybody and see you in January.
Thank you very much for your comment. Any other comments?
No other comments.
Okay, and no one here is here present for any public comments, so we'll close that out. Next item on the agenda is other business. First thing we have is a report of the Planning Commission liaison, Ms. Culberson. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I don't really have anything new to report.
Okay.
No, my.
Well, I don't know, there's construction going on everywhere. So,
Yeah.
All right, very good. The second item is a discussion of possible change in ZBA rules of procedure regarding dismissal for failure to appear. And that comes from the situation that we had here today. My suggestion, well, first of all, the rules Bob, you found it last time. Where is it? Always pass it by.
Right for.
Oh, here it is.
On mine.
Yeah, page 8, rule 5.4. This is what it says now. Dismissal and reinstatement of appeal. When an appellant fails to appear at a properly scheduled meeting of the ZBA, the chairperson may entertain a motion for the ZBA to dismiss the case for want of prosecution. The appellant will be furnished written notice of the action by the secretary. The appellant shall have 7 days from the date of notice of dismissal to apply for reinstatement of the case. In such cases, the appellant must file a written request with the secretary for reinstatement upon a payment of a fee established by the township board.
Skip the line.
Pardon?
You skipped the line about reinstatement shall be at the discretion of the chair.
Oh, yes. Reinstatement shall be, well, I don't have my glasses on. That's why.
I have to take mine off to read it.
Reinstatement shall, I'm having a cataract, I believe. So maybe that'll help. Reinstatement shall be at the discretion of the chairperson for good cause shown and upon payment of a fee established by the township board. The township board may waive the reinstatement fee upon a showing of extenuating circumstances. In all cases reinstated in the above described manner, the case will be docketed and re-advertised in the usual manner prescribed for new cases. Because we had the case here and with the information on what a applicant or appellant or an owner or petitioner, whatever you want to call the person, it says that you have to, basically says you have to attend, but if you don't attend, your case may be postponed and then may be appealed. The information doesn't say anything about the possible dismissal. I think that we should ask the township administration to change that sheet, as I stated before, to include the possibility of dismissal for failure to prosecute. But to conform our rules with the information given by the township, I think what might be a good idea is to say that an applicant may be given a postponement on motion of the board for failure to appear. And if the appellant or if the applicant or petitioner doesn't show up at the time of the postponed date, then the matter shall be dismissed for want of prosecution.
I think that's good. I think there's another component to that, and that's the public hearing component. And I would, if, you know, to me, it makes sense if you're going to postpone it, that you keep that public hearing open so that you still have the ability to continue the public hearing, because the public doesn't have the benefit of hearing the applicant state their case.
Okay, so what are you suggesting?
I guess I'm wanting to make sure that in the procedures, if it's postponed, that we also address continuance of the public hearing. It wouldn't be a re-notification of the public hearing, but it would be a continuance of the public hearing.
That would be appropriate.
Okay, we can do that. What does everybody else think? Mr. Shields,
Sounds right to me.
put your thinking cap on.
I'm very comfortable with it. Makes sense.
Mr. Walsh?
So essentially, you're leaving it up to the ZBA to determine whether it's a postponement or dismissed for lack of prosecution. And I guess I'm sitting here thinking, given this case, how do we know the difference of they just blew us off versus?
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, and that's,
Well, but what I'm saying, I get, unless you come up with another suggestion, I'm sort of saying they get a free postponement if they're not showing up.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense.
and I'm not against that. I just, do we somehow then change it? I mean, to basically state that out front. We're gonna give you one
Yes.
chance.
Yes, yeah, we should do that.
And I think it makes sense with the public hearing, not have to renotice the public hearing,
Yeah.
but conduct the public hearing and continue it. So there isn't a re-notification, but it's just a continuation.
Right. Why don't Mr. Walsh and I work on some wording that reflects that? Okay. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
And we'll discuss the wording at the time of the January meeting.
And I would think that whatever procedure we have also goes into the notification. So they're
Well-
identical wordings.
You mean the information that's given to the applicant?
Right.
Yeah, yes, I really would like to have the two documents working consistently. However, I mean, we could actually live with what they've got right now. If we give them one free postponement, I don't think, I could still live with this.
And I agree with this, kind of a grace postponement because, stuff happens.
Well, of course, then the next question, well, hold on. Stuff does happen, yeah, no question. But if you're postponed, are you gonna have to pay the fee?
You shouldn't, because if you open the public hearing and anyone that's here to speak on that topic, they would have a chance to speak during that public hearing and you would just continue it the next one. If you postpone it, there's no reason to re-notify.
Yeah, there isn't a re-notification, but there is an expense for another, unless there's
Unless there's
another
another applicant.
applicant, yeah. So there is that additional cost to the township.
Well, the postponement, I think it states here until the next scheduled. So we don't actually have to create a new meeting just for a postponed topic, do we?
No, but what she's saying is every meeting, whether it's regularly scheduled or a special meeting, there's a cost.
Right.
So if there was no other applicant for that next meeting and we're just having the postponed case, that's what she was trying to say.
This is a step.
But I thought, the bottom line here says, taking it to the next scheduled board, which is usually a month later, but could be longer if there is not other business requiring the board to meet. Technically, the postponement
Could be
3
Has
or
to
4
piggyback.
months. It's
Yeah.
got a piggyback. It's not, if they want to rehear the next month and there isn't a meeting, they pay the fee.
And that would be a good option,
Oh, okay.
yeah. The choice would be to piggyback or to pay for a meeting.
If you
I think
want.
that's fair.
Okay, that makes sense.
Can I ask what are the fees, what happens with the fees, what
We
services are?
split it among ourselves. No.
He didn't know.
Kristen, this is a great time to learn about this.
Well, I mean, it goes into the general fund of the township, I assume.
So there's no specific costs that are covered with this.
But there are
Yeah,
fees,
there are
there are fees
fees.
associated with this meeting, right?
Yes.
There's, you get a per diem, I assume,
Yes.
my time
Yes.
is ready. I did a review.
Transcriber's gotta do something.
Okay.
Francis has to process the application, the notification,
Yeah,
Yes.
it's not
Paper plus
inexpensive,
the
and
stamp.
actually,
Yep, no, no.
a $250 fee does not cover the
No.
costs
No,
of
it
the
really
meeting.
doesn't, but. Yeah,
That's up to the township.
yeah. Yeah, actually, the amount of any fee is always up to the township, it's not ours. You have no say over it. Well, okay. We can come up with some.
Yes, we can.
I think that's more fair.
Okay, then the next item on the agenda is, guess what? Adjournment.
Is there any other business?
Is there any other business? Anybody? Anybody on Zoom? All right. Then I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Culberson to adjourn, seconded by Mr. Shields. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? All right, we're adjourned at
7:43.